Okay, so this is for paper two. Okay, and the story that you have is The Door in Wall, H.G. Wells. And the story has two characters particularly. Okay, first of all, we'll look at the characters that are there. Okay, the one is Lionel Wallace, and the other one is Redmond. Wallace is basically the one who is a successful politician, all right, but he has a regret, and regret has kept him torn apart. So he's torn between ambition and inner happiness, right? He's not. He's always confused. Though he's a successful politician, but he has a regret in his mind. And one day, he opens up to his friend, Redmond, who is a rational narrator, okay, and he represents skepticism. All right, he's skeptic. Okay, whatever is being told to him, he's skeptic. So there's a lot of symbol involved in this story. Okay, so you'll find that story interesting in terms of settings, in terms of theme, all right, and in terms of storytelling technique, how narratives are usually being told. Okay, and that is what we will be looking at, right? No. Okay, then please stop it. I'm teaching right now, bro. Can you do the thing? Okay, so let's look at the key themes of this story: duty versus desire. Okay, lost innocence, reality versus illusion, regret and missed opportunities, and nature of happiness. How sometimes, as living soul, we have to compromise on our desire because the call of duty is different. And this is what has happened with this character, Wallace, as well. So, since he's a politician, he has a lot to do in his life. So, there are certain inner desires in him which he usually compromises. Okay. And then there's an illusion in his mind, which is a contradiction to the reality. The door that symbolizes his inner thought. Okay, so it is an illusion that he's living in with, and then he often regrets that there has been lots of opportunities which help him to escape from the duty, which help him to escape from the routine, the mundane realism that he's living in. um, Gave him an opportunity to escape. So there has been a lot of events in his life where he could find that he can easily escape that part. But somehow he has not availed any of that opportunity. So he has that regret. And one of the very major theme of this story is nature of happiness. Happiness is quite a relative term. Maybe the way you define happiness is different. The way I'm defining happiness, that is different. So the way reality, the way facts are relative, similarly, happiness is also relative. Isn't it, Meera? There's no absolute definition of there's no absolute definition of happiness, or is there any absolute definition of happiness?
Um,
No, or is there any? So let's look at the summary of this story. The story follows Wallace, a successful politician, haunted by a magical green door he discovered in childhood. The door led to a beautiful garden symbolizing happiness and innocence. Throughout his life, he ignores opportunities to enter it due to responsibilities. So this is the divide. This is one of the major themes: duty and desire. All right. So he had a desire to enter the door, and that door could offer him endless opportunities. But because of the call of duty, he never he never entered or never availed that opportunity. And later he regrets these choices and he dies mysteriously, possibly chasing the illusion. Okay. And then we look at, let's look at an extract of the this short story, and we'll see how the story has opened up. One confidential evening. Should I highlight it? Yes. We'll just read the first two paragraphs of it. One confidential evening, not 3 months ago, Wallace told me this story. Now, the narrator of this story is Richmond, who is the friend of Wallace, and he's a skeptical narrator. Now, we can see the way he has opened up the story. One confidential evening, not 3 months ago, Wallace told me the story of the door in the wall. At, and at that time, I thought that so far as he was concerned, it was a true story. He told it me with such direct simplicity of conviction that I could not otherwise than believe in him. But in the morning, in my own flat, I woke to a different atmosphere, and as I lay in bed and recalled the things he had told me, stripped of the glamour of his earnest, slow voice, denuded of the focused, shaded table light, the shadowy atmosphere that wrapped about him and me, and the pleasant, bright things, the desert and the glasses and napery of dinner we had shared, making them for the time a bright little world, quite cut off from everyday realities. I saw it all as frankly incredible. He was mystifying, I said. And then how well he did it. It isn't quite the thing I should have expected of him, of all people to do well. Okay? So that's how the story has opened up. He is recalling his friend who told him a story about a place, and now he's trying to create a link with the life that he's living in. Okay? So can you link it to one of the theme of the story?
Sarah Page.
Yes, we're okay. Right. Yes, Meerab. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I am. Can
All
I
right. How is the opening related to one of the theme of the story?
Nita? I'm at this page. Name it, Violet.
Okay. Are you there? I'm asking you a question, by the way.
Yes.
How is the opening related to one of the theme of the story? Reality versus illusion, duty versus desire. These are the few of the themes of the story. Lost innocence, though we have just read the opening paragraph of the story, not in detail. But can you link one of the theme to the opening of the story? Which theme do you think is dominant in the opening of the story?
Reality versus illusion.
Reality versus illusion. And how can quote an evidence from the opening paragraph that this is the reality versus illusion?
That Wallace told me the story of the door in the wall, and at the time I thought that so far as he was concerned, it was not. It was a true story.
Okay. All right. Like, you know what? This is the line which actually tells us that how the story is linked with one of the theme, by the way, which is like when he had shared making them for the time of a bright little world, quite cut off everyday realities. Yes, quite cut off from everyday realities. So this quotation, this part of the story, is very much linked with one of the theme which shows reality versus illusion. And then if we move further, it says, afterwards, as I sat up in the bed and sipped my morning tea, I found myself trying to account for the flavor of reality that perplexed me in its impossible reminiscences. By supposing they did in some way suggest present convoy, I hardly know which word to use. Experiences, it was otherwise impossible to tell. Well, I don't resort to that explanation now. I have got over my intervening doubts. I believe now, as I believed at that moment of telling, Wallace did to the very best of his ability strip the truth of his secret for me. Strip the truth of his secret to me. Now this word has a lot of is quite strong and has multiple shades, by the way. Strip the truth of his secret for me. Okay, but whether he himself saw or um, only the only thought he saw, or whether he only thought he saw, whether he himself was the possessor of an inestimable privilege or the victim of a fantastic dream. I cannot pretend to guess. Even the facts of his death, which ended my doubt forever, throw no light on that. Now, this also reveals, how mysteriously Wallace has died, and how his death actually has led him to recall one of the event. Right? That much the reader must judge to himself. I forget on how forget on now what chance comment or criticism of mine moved so reticent a man to confide in me. He was, I think, defending himself against the what is that word? Imputation of slackness and unreliability. What does imputation mean, though? I'm just going to highlight it for you. Imputation of slackness. Yes, Meera?
Um,
I think defending himself against an imputation of slackness and unreliability I had made in relation to a great public movement in which he had disappointed me, but he plunged suddenly. I have, he said, a preoccupation. Imputate, what does imputate mean? Imputation,
um,
yes? What does this mean in this sense, by the way?
I think defending himself against an imputation of slackness.
Yes? Imputation is a very strong word which is often related to crime or negligence. Okay, blame, he's blaming it for his slackness, and unreliability. And then we move on to the next. I know he went on after a pause. I have been negligent. The fact is, it isn't a case of ghost or apparition, but it is an odd thing to tell of. Redmond, I am haunted. I'm haunted by something that rather takes the light out of things, that fills me with longings. Now, these are the quotation words. These are the direct speech. This is a direct speech of Wallace while he was narrating his story, and he was sharing his own feelings also. He said, I am haunted by something that rather takes the light out of things, that fills me with longings. So this is also a theme of One of the theme is related to um, nature of happiness. All right. So there is a divide between uh, there's a strong desire to achieve something, but at the same time, he's being stopped not achieving this, not achieving his desire. He paused, checked by that English shyness that so often overcomes us when we speak of moving or grave or beautiful things. You were a saint at Ethelstan's all through all through, he said, and for a moment that seemed to me quite irrelevant. Well, and he paused. Then, very haltingly at first, but afterwards more easily, he began to tell of the thing that was hidden in his life, the haunting memory of a beauty and happiness that filled his heart with insatiable longings that made all the interest and spectacle of worldly life seem dull and tedious and vain to him. Now, this clearly tells us, how much occupied he had been with his work, and how much desire he had to achieve that haunted memory that he had. Okay, so once he was a child, he saw that opportunity, that illusion, the door. But from childhood to adulthood, from adulthood to his professional career, he never had a chance to follow the illusion that was there for him. Or somehow this was a made up door in his mind. Okay? Now, this is a very character, all right, that exists in our society also. You can relate it to the any character that is present in our society who has a desire which he might put aside before just because of the fact that he has a lot of duties on his shoulders. Just imagine, a man's life who has his own wishes, who has his own wish list to do, and similarly a woman's life who has his own wish list to do, but she always put it aside at times for the to sacrifice her wish for the family, at times to sacrifice her wish for her love, or at times sacrificing her wish to meet both ends. All right. So, this is how one actually leaves their original self, their innocent life. Okay, so this is also a symbolic representation of how uh, you know our own personality somehow is hidden in what we are not exteriorly presenting ourselves. Okay, is it making sense or not till now?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain that to me? Whatever I've told you, can you explain back to me?
Sir, that we can relate it to our society, how men and women put aside like um their things that make them happy for like their family and stuff.
You, all right. So this is so we need to look at the themes of the story, because when you are writing, attempting a question, so you have to be very much sure that what are the themes of the story and how can we contextualize it to the contemporary society. Okay, and then you also comment on the storytelling techniques, narrative telling techniques in this case. Okay, so you always talk about the character. So an extract would be given to you in the paper, and then you will have a question related to it, which might ask you to write a detail about how characters are being presented and how um, which storytelling techniques has been compelling for the reader to get involved in it. Okay, so if we look at one of the sample question, then things will become more clear to us. Okay, so
Okay.
yes, so I'll do this right here. Okay, I'll put that question up for you just in a while. All right. So should we go to the end of the story? Now we'll see how this has been closed. So you can read the rest part of the story on your own, please. Okay.
Okay.
We'll just skip a few more sections of the story. Since we're short of time, we have to cover a lot of things. So I'm just going to go till the end. Uh, during the world. Okay. Done. Last two pages here. You know, chapter. Yes, there we go. I can see now his. I can see now his rather pallid face and the unfamiliar somber fire that had come into his eyes. I see him very vividly tonight. I sit recalling his words, his tones, and last evening's Westminster Gazette, right? Gazette still lies on my sofa, containing the notice of his death. Okay, a lunch today. The club was busy with his death. We talked of nothing else. They found his body very early yesterday morning in a deep excavation near East Kensington Station. It is one of the two shafts that have been made in connection with an extension of the railways southward. It is protected from the intrusion of the public by a hoarding upon the high road, in which a small doorway has been cut for the um, convenience of some of the workmen who live in that direction. The doorway was left unfastened through a misunderstanding between two gangers, and through it he made his way. Okay, now we can see the Wallace has, Wallace, uh, his life has been taken mysteriously. My mind is darkened with questions and riddles. It would seem he walked all the way from the house that night. He has frequently walked home during the past session, and so it is. I figure his dark form coming along the late and empty streets, wrapped up, intent, and he did the pale electric lights near the station cheat the rough planking into a semblance, all right, semblance of white. Did that fatal unfastened door awaken some memory? Okay, so he's just wondering that had he been to the door himself, or he literally entered the door which he had been talking about. So this riddle of his death was never resolved. Actually, was there, after all, any green door in that wall at all? Okay, I do not know. I have told the stories as he told it to me. There are times when I believe that Wallace was no more than the victim of a coincidence between a rare but unprecedented type of hallucination and a careless trap. So it links to the overthinking also, all right? How overthinking can lead to series of chatters in your mind, and which could actually create inner speech. Okay, like in psychology, you might have read about schizophrenia. Yes. So
Yes,
how
sir.
when a person fails to differentiate between inner thought and outer thought, all right, and then he feels like inner thought is actually a foreigner thought or maybe someone else's speech, and maybe that is the same case with Wallace. There was no door at all, but he had that unprecedented type of hallucination, and he became a trap of it. But that indeed is not my profoundest belief. You may think me superstitious. Like earlier, I told you, this Redmond, who's the narrator, he's quite skeptical. He's not sure about anything that he has narrated because he's asking question to himself, and he's making his audience also to keep pondering, keep thinking that what might have happened to Wallace. Okay, but that indeed is not my profoundest. That is what it says. That is not my profoundest belief. So you may think me superstitious, if you will, and now is addressing the audience directly with the use of direct address like you, if you will, and foolish. But indeed, I am more than half convinced that he had, in truth, an abnormal gift and a sense of something. I know not what, that in the guise of a wall and a door offered him an outlet, a secret and a peculiar passage of escape into another and altogether more beautiful world. At any rate, you will say it betrayed him in the end, but did it betray him? But now again, he's quite skeptical. Throughout the story, you'll find him doubtful, questioning. He remains cynical at the same time. At any rate, you will say, it betrayed him in the end, but did it betray him? There you touch the inmost mystery of these dreamers, these men of vision and imagination. We see our world fair and common, the hoarding and the pit. By our daylight standard, he walked out of the security to darkness, danger, and death. Now, this is the list of three that often writers do to convince readers with their point of view. Like you can see, security into darkness, danger, and death. This is also an alliterative phrase that has been used there. You know what is alliteration? You know what is alliteration?
Yes, sir.
What is it? Repetition of consonant sounds. Are you understanding it, by the way? I'm just saying a lot. I don't know if you're getting me or not.
I am, sir.
I hope I hope you're able to connect the dots. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But did he see like that? All right. Now this is the end line, the last rhetorical question that he has posed. And he said, but did he seem like that? We never felt him that Wallace is this kind of person that who would become, who would become a victim of unprecedented hallucination. All right. We never thought Wallace would be a kind of person who, despite being a successful politician, he would become um, a victim of his own hallucinations and dreams. And the door that he has never existed, or perhaps might have existed, has actually betrayed him in the end. Okay, and this his mysterious death also leaves a lot of question marks on our society. That uh, when people are not heard properly. Maybe those could be his apprehensions, those could be his childhood desires, those could be his escape from the real world to to a fantasy land, to a fantasy mysterious land where he could fulfill his childhood dreams, all right? And that chain of thoughts eventually has helped him to, um, you know, helped him to clear ideas in his life, all right, to find an escape from uh, from the very tough routine, and he somehow found that escape from the life is the only gateway to peace and tranquil life that he might have ahead. Right? Okay. Now, your response is very much essential to me, just to ensure that you are we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Yes. So now,
Yes.
yes. Now, moving on towards the themes: duty versus desire, lost innocence, reality versus illusion, regret and missed opportunities, and then character analysis. Wallace is successful but regretful, tone between ambition and inner happiness. Okay. A few key quotes, the door in the wall, symbol of opportunity. Now, this key quote tells us, the door in the wall was a key symbol for him for the opportunity to escape. Okay. And then he said, I could not go in. I had my duties. Now, this shows her um, the strong desire versus duty. There had been a battle between duty and desire. All right. And eventually he gave up. He gave up on his duty and tried to fulfill his desire, but that desire eventually betrayed him. I have lost something. And then there's a very, very regret that is dominant here. Okay. So,
Yes.
yes. I shared that question with you earlier. I don't know if you have it with you. Okay. Question.
कौन सा?
Literature. So, just give me a minute. The dual involved. Okay. 9695. Okay. PP. All right. So, here we go. I guess we might find it wrong. I'll share this paper with you.
किस?
No. Consider ways in which he presents the. Okay. So you might get a question paper. Comment closely on the following passage and considering ways in which Wallace and Wallace deep desire has been portrayed. Okay. So you can get a question away in the paper like this. Okay, so you'll have an extract to read and you might have to comment on it. But you'll be able to link it with the themes only if you know the themes, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
With this one, I guess it's time to say goodbye. We were unable to cover the second story because somehow we spent more time on extract, trying to understand the theme. So can you read the other story on your own? And can you
Okay,
give
sir. कौन
explanation?
सी में?
The second one is this is the one I'm talking about. The prison.